Hey guys, it's Canna with Canna Queen Genetics. I just had a wonderful time seshing and hanging out with Dro TV. Thanks for having me and have a dank ass day.
Welcome back to My First Time, the show where our guests get to tell their story of the first time they got high on marijuana. I'm your host, Mike Freeman, and today I'd like to welcome our guest, Canna Queen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Dro?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for coming on Dro TV today. You can find more of Canna Queen and Canna Queen Genetics on Instagram and Discord. So, Ms. Canna Queen, why don't you start it off with telling us a little bit about Canna Queen Genetics?
Hi, I'm Canna from Canna Queen Genetics. I started my company in 2018. It was kind of like a happenstance sort of thing. I know that sounds crazy, but I was a grower and I was picked up from a breeder from Spain from the Instagrams. And he took me under his wing and taught me how to breed, and I kind of just tripped, fell, and landed in it, and it was something I was very passionate about. One of my first breeds was a CBD strain, and so I was helping people, and it was something that I always had a heart for. So yeah, so here we are about 7 years later and still going strong. So
Awesome. And I definitely want to get into more of the company, some of the strains, some of the charity work, I guess, that you're doing. But before that, the show is my first time, Canna Queen. So please indulge us in the first time you got high.
okay, so yeah, it was super memorable because my brother had been I was 15. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I was 13. He was he was 15.
Okay.
But yeah, so he had been taking my dad's pot, like little nugs here and there for a long time because it was good stuff. And like I knew he was doing it, but I had no part in it. Like I was like, I didn't know where it came from. We just smoked it. So he was like, yeah, I got some of dad's pot. Let's go. So we went out to like where we had a shed in the backyard, and like we didn't know how to roll a joint. We it was a mess. We were like lighting it, it was falling apart. Like we finally got to where like we were hitting it, like we got like a huge hit, you know. And all of a sudden, like my dad comes around the corner, and he had been standing there quite a while because he wanted to know what was going on. So he comes around the corner and he takes the joint out of my brother's hand, and he looks at it, and he looks at us with a scowl, and we're like, oh, we're fucked. Like we're done. Like we're in so much trouble. So he takes it and he looks at it and he goes, and he throws it on the ground and he puts it out and he's like, I'm very disappointed in you too. He's like, I would have shared. And ever since then, we smoked with pops. So it was
Nice.
kind of like an accepted thing, and which was really cool because where other kids' parents was, they were getting grounded for it, we were able to do it at home. So it was something that, was pretty awesome.
Awesome. And have you been a chronic cannabis user since then?
I would definitely say yes to that.
Okay.
Um, I was one of those kids that wouldn't drink at parties, but I would always have the bag of the good ganja, and
Yeah.
everybody knew that. So like when they were ready to smoke, they just kind of like migrated over to where I was. But I knew, like, I always knew from an early age that it did something different for me. I wasn't, obviously I wasn't sure what it was, but I knew it was balancing me to where like I could feel like I was having fun at a party when I wasn't drinking because it just wasn't my thing. So ever since then, I just took a interest in it. And my ex was in the army, and we lived in an apartment complex. And there was this 25-year-old soldier who was medically discharged from the army, and he was epileptic. And he would have like 12 seizures a day. And his wife would come running down the stairs, like, he's having another one. Can you help me? She'd be alone. And we'd go up there, and like his tongue looked like ground beef, like when it comes from the store in the package, because he had
Yeah.
bit through it so many times,
Wow.
and it was just like gut wrenching because just to see a young couple, and like, he already lost his career. And so I had first started growing. This is in Colorado Springs in 2013. When I had one of my first grows, I acquired some clones from a veteran. And so little preface, my ex was kicked out of the army for popping hot for cannabis.
Wow.
and he was using it to medicate for PTSD. So I was very, very angry. We lost our livelihood and everything about it. So I went, we had already lived in a legal state. So I was like, that's it. I'm doing this, like what more permission do I need? So, but anyway, so one of my first clones that I had gotten was called Ace of Spades. It was a TGA genetic strain. And I didn't know at the time, but it had some CBD effects in it. So I had bagged up a zip and I brought it up to her and I said, look, like, tell him to smoke this, like smoke it consistent with the whole bag to his head. It's free. You can have it. And so she came downstairs 2 weeks later and she's like, he went 7 days without a seizure. Like literally went from like having 12 a day to went 7. And then it went like 12 days. And then it first like went to like 43 days without a seizure. And it floored me, even though it wasn't a strain I created, I grew it. I had something to do with improving
Sure.
this soldier's quality of life. And so ever since then, I've always helped veterans. I make RSO. I make I made a veterans charity strain called 3 Blue Stars. And yeah, so I just, I outreach and do some charity for veterans because it's near and dear to my heart. So
That's awesome. Well, thank you for doing that work that you do.
my
Uh,
pleasure.
Can Canna Queen, what you smoking on?
I'm smoking on a mixture of some Congo times the cheese crossed. Actually, the Congo crossed to the cheese, and then it's mixed with some other stuff in a jar. Like when I get done rolling my joints, I just kind of push everything into this jar. So it's already ground up, ready to go. So it's kind of like a salad.
Nice. That looked like a pretty fat joint. You roll your own?
Oh yeah. Everybody always compliments me on my hog legs.
Nice. Nice. I like them fat too.
Yeah, I mean, I said this on my live earlier. Like, my question is like, why doesn't everybody roll them like this?
Yeah. Awesome. So we've got the 3 Blue Stars Veterans Charity strain. Let's talk about the Queen White Haze.
Okay. So I actually created this strain originally I was working under another breeder, who was local to this area. And I bred this strain underneath him. And as partnerships usually do, we parted ways. And so I was left with about 30,000 seeds of the strain that we originally named something else. And I was like, man, how can I make this mine? And yet, because it was amazing and I knew all the hard work I had put into it. So I was like, how can I make this something? So I started growing it and then I started reaching out on the interwebs. I started out in the forums, 420 magazine and Overgrow, and just started reaching out. And so I started a grow off on Instagram. It was a 16-week grow off and everybody grew the same seeds. And everybody did 2-week, like bi-weekly reports with like pictures and stuff like that. It was really hard to like keep everybody on track. Because as a grower, like most people are either really meticulous or they're just really just like, I don't know what time I flowered them. I don't know how many days they go. I don't, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like I just watch them, like whatever. So I learned a lot about working with the community by doing those grow offs, and it was really cool. And I got my seeds out there, and I got them grown, and I got people's attention with the Clean White Haze. So yeah, originally the cross in that is the Oro Blanco by Bodhi Seeds, and that's the white times Wookie cross to a Miami Heat, which is an exotic genetics cross of triple OG to Miami Haze.
Okay. Awesome. I'm hoping one day I built a garden out back. I got 40 different plants and vegetables growing, and it'd be really nice to have some weed plants out there.
So I actually am in the middle of my application process for getting my hemp license, and I'm crossing over to the CBD side for a little bit because where we're at, it's just it's needed. Like there's not like a lot of smokable CBD. It's a lot of shenanigans going on. And I want to show people that you can do it organically too. That's super important to me is sustainability and organic growing and just the culture of cultivation and using what we have already. So
Yeah, we were just having a conversation about legalization uh, in my opinion, that's the only conversation we should be having is fully legal. We can grow it in our own homes or have somebody grow it for us. It's silly that I have to pay to go get a medicine when I have the ability to grow it at my own home. I don't think there's anything else that is prohibited from, uh, you know,
Regulate Florida. Come on, let's go. Let's get home grows. Let's get the power in the people's hands. Let's put the medicine where it belongs. You know.
Are you a part of Regulate Florida?
I am not, but I support it fully. And also I'm a part of a cultivation group called Growcast, and it's
Okay.
all over the country. And we're going to start some cultivation classes. We're going to start some meetups. We're just going to get people, together. We're going to get get them fired up a little bit, get the knowledge easily accessible in their hands. And yeah, someone's got to do it. Like we got to get together. That's the only way, it's power in numbers. So
Yeah. I only ask because I've seen him at a couple events, and all these conversations we have on this show, whether it's Michigan or Illinois or California, a lot of states are overregulated and they're getting crushed, whether it's typically the little guy. I know people in Michigan that grow, and now they're taking on the responsibilities of the big corporations as far as testing and labeling and all that
yeah,
stuff.
fuck the MCMA. I have a lot of Michigan growers, the coalition friends, and yeah, they're the big pharma. It's just like the big corporations and capitalism. They're just it's there is no happy medium. There really isn't. But we need to legalize it. We need to stop punishing the plant for the world's problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Regulation.
Exactly. So is there a story behind you becoming the Canna Queen? Is this something that somebody named you, or did you kind of step into this role with all your background and genetics and everything else?
Actually, that's a good question. And I've been thinking about it a lot lately, because if I would have thought about it thoroughly, like I do some of my strain names back then when I named my company Canna Queen Genetics, um, I probably wouldn't have named it Canna Queen. It's so generic, you know what I mean? And like people kind of look down at it, but I truly feel like in some way the queen of cannabis, because I've gotten to know it in a different way. Not like through the books or, per se, like through a college, or I'm not a botanist, but I really got to know the plant from the inside out. And I think I'm an intuitive and instinctive grower and breeder. I go in with a plan, and then sometimes the plants decide for me. And I'm very hands-on, like, yeah.
Now I'm interested, how do you come up with these strain names? Is it easy, or is it like a lot of work trying to get something that sounds cool or silly or fun? How do you, work through this?
So I really try to keep my strain names true to their roots, to their lineages. So that way, like if someone hears the strain, they're not like, oh, soggy boots. Like they wouldn't even know what the cross could possibly be.
Right.
So I try to keep my strains, close to what they are. Coming up with the names is usually, for me, it's so easy, it just comes to me, you know what I mean? Like my Queen White Haze, like I said, it was originally called something else, and so I just changed the first name and made it Queen White Haze. It's a white version of the Black Haze. It's more like OG leaning. It's super squat flowers. It's not PM resistant, but it is very resilient plant. It's very good for like newer growers, and it's a fast flower. She flowers in about 60 to 64 days. So
Wow.
um but yeah, I pride myself on making strains that are true not only to their name, but true to my roots. So I have a lot of strains that have hazes and cushes and TKs and stuff like that in it, that are true to our roots here in South Florida. So
Hey, everybody, I want to quickly mention Food Forest Abundance. Food Forest Abundance is a great way to create your own self sustaining food forest and naturally occurring ecosystem that's commonly found in nature, but designed specifically for you. Through multiple layers of trees, shrubs, herbs, vines, rhizomes, mushrooms, and perennial vegetables,
you can become your own supply chain without the typical maintenance required of a garden. From small spaces to large areas, both urban and suburban, Food Forest Abundance wants us to get back to our roots in nature by engaging with our food production in a meaningful way. For more information, click on the link in the description below and start your journey today. Okay, let's get back to today's episode.
Do you grow anything else? I've got squashes growing, peas. I've got arugula and bok choy. Since you have all this knowledge, did you say, hey, I'm going to start growing stuff that I can consume as well?
Absolutely, 100%. I did. Yes. I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to have my pops move in with us for the past year before he retires and moves away. So we've been gardening together, and I was actually sponsored by a soil company. Well, not sponsored, but I was given soil by Bio365, and I represented. Well, I just used their soil for quite a while. And so we just started re-amending it, and like we closed our loop and we use compost and we use rainwater, and like it's super sustainable, and it's like it's been so fun to like not only just grow other things, but yeah, we have like heirloom like tomatoes, and we grew like kale, and everything just hasn't really been doing good. I think this is the season to like grow your to have your grow, you know what I mean, like here, because if not, in the summer it's rainy, and in the late winter it's just so dry. So yeah, we're finding our footing with the moisture problems around here, but
Cool.
it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. My backyard gets like 12 hours of sun every day, so that's why I figured this is where the garden needs to be. And
Do you have
eventually,
like raised beds, or like how do you?
I've got a few raised beds. I've got some trellises. I've built a trellis tunnel. I got a whole. It's a food forest is what I'm going for, but
Oh,
I've got some
cool.
raised beds just to be able to grow some other things as well. And I've got some fruit trees that I got to figure out. I'm really trying to figure out placement at this point because I want to put them in the ground and leave them there. So
It's so hard, but here, I'll give you a little tip, because planting citrus trees, it's like it's a commitment. It's like almost it is a lifelong commitment, because like you wait 5 to 12 years before you actually get fruit from it. But what I suggest is like what we do is we put it in a pot, we get it nice and happy, and then like we just set the pot where we think we want it for, I don't know, a week, and like we contemplate whether we want it there or not, and then we decide. But I try to keep all my fruit trees in one area, like you say, like little forest. So we have like bananas and Myers lemons and limes and avocados and mangoes. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's fun. They grow so slow though. They're so not gratifying.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad I have things that do grow pretty quickly. And I'm getting more into edible plants as well. Moringa, cranberry hibiscus. Got some Okinawa spinach. And those, when they're hardy, you can just go out, pull them right off and just eat them. So,
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
cool
we like
stuff.
everything. We like do pineapples and like bulbs, all kinds of what do they call them? Oh, I can't remember it looks like an elephant ear, but it's like colorful caladium.
Yeah.
Caladium. Yeah. So
Yeah.
cool.
We've saved every pineapple top. We've got the pineapple patch out front, which is full now, a dozen pineapples. So now I've got to start putting them out around the back. But I'm trying to build some fruit tree guilds. So at the bottom of the fruit tree, I'll put a couple squashes here, some sweet potatoes here next year. And so also incorporate nitrogen producing and insect attracting and repellent plants as well. Kind of have it more of a self-sustaining ecosystem. So I don't have to do as much work next year. That's what I'm looking for.
I love that. Yeah, so I started playing around with making my own like insecticide, but all organic, because I mean, that's my aim.
Yeah, yeah.
So I started growing, like peppermint and like oregano and certain like I kind of go off of like if it's good for us, it's good for a plant that's good for us, right? So like stuff we put in our bodies, it most likely is good for the cannabis as well. So I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, like nitrogen fixers, like catnip, even like, or some kind of crimson clover or some type of clover. Yeah, so it's always fun.
Yeah, very fun. Canna Queen, if somebody named a strain after you, what would it be called?
I don't know. That's a good one. Um, does it have to be one that like is already made or like a
No,
new
no,
name?
it could be something already made, or it could be something brand new. Like if your
This,
friends, if you polled all your friends and said, "What's a strain that you would name after me?" What do you think they'd say?
uh, I think I'm gonna go with Super Silver Queen because I always talk
Okay.
about how much I love that profile of the Super Silver Haze, and I love hazes. So, yeah, probably Super Silver Queen.
Okay, awesome. How's Discord treating you?
It's a new transition. It's definitely different than the IGs, which isn't a bad thing. It's just getting people to, go from one platform to the other has been a little bit challenging, but
Yeah, Mason Bright was the first one to sponsor us here on Dro TV, and so we've been in the Mason Bright Discord family, and I almost forget about it too much because we don't post a lot in there, and so I feel bad. I was on there earlier, checking out your server, and I saw messages from like a month ago. I'm like, damn, but anyways, LinkedIn, we're starting to do more on LinkedIn as well. And the only reason why is those are the decision makers, the people that have the money and they make the decisions. So you're literally posting right at the people that either want your product, want your service, need your help. And so we're starting to focus on LinkedIn a bit more. And since you have a business and you're an entrepreneur, that's something I would suggest checking out, looking into.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I really feel like we all just need to come together and like support each other in certain ways where we don't allow certain platforms to censor us in these ways. You know what I mean? Like we can do that if we come together, but it's really hard to get the masses together, you know. It's not an easy task.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about the social club yet, if that's going to be the answer or if it's just going to be something else. Um, we haven't joined the social club yet, only because we got a lot going on here, but remains to be seen. I want to check it out and see what the feedback is and check on it in a month or so and see how the users think, user activity, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I think another social platform is like we need another one, like we need a hole in our heads. I think
Yeah,
what you're doing is amazing. I think you can really reach a lot of people and like-minded people through what you're doing. I love that idea. I actually tried for quite a while to do like YouTube shows and tried to get people together. It's just the consistency thing. People aren't really they're not really super like they're super gung-ho in the beginning, and I totally get it. Life happens, and like it's really it becomes a commitment, something you have to stay committed to. And so kudos to you for doing that and getting this out there for the people, because it's raising awareness, which is much needed.
for sure. Thank you. Which is one reason we're excited about LinkedIn is there's 850 million users on LinkedIn every day, and there's only 3 million posts every day. So they have a content deficiency. And it is basically like Facebook now. People argue it's political, which is bizarre to see like some CEO that I interviewed on there arguing politics with somebody. But nonetheless, from everybody we've spoken to, and we've spoken to some pretty prominent people on LinkedIn, there's no shadow banning with cannabis. They haven't ratcheted down on any of that yet. So we're starting to focus more on LinkedIn and hopefully, build on that platform as well, especially we just came out with another show called the Cannabis Show. It's a business centric show. And so we're hoping to pop that off on LinkedIn there. So being a business professional yourself, I wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. I'll definitely check it out. It sounds definitely worth looking into.
It's Canna Queen. We've got a few minutes left here. You want to talk to us about the 12 days of Christmas you're giving away?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just a little, like I said, I'm just super community centric, and also I just have a heart for giving back. And even, I'm not like the richest person in the world, but I love the feeling, especially like in the holidays. A lot of people get down during this season, even though like you wouldn't think. It's a hard season for a lot of people. So it's something to look forward to. So last year we did 25 days. It was a lot with all the shipping and all that. But so this year we did 12 days. There's over $3,000 worth of prizes in the 12 days. All out of my own pocket. And some of the things are in these bags are things like 10 of my unreleased strains. So that would be strains that only my guardsman team. I have a team of guys that I've had on my team for about 5 years, growing my gear and testing it out. And so it's been grown by them. It's just not been released to the public. So there's 10 of those strains. There's some RSO. There's some genetics donated from some other really fire breeders. Some extracts, some arts, Canna mold printed by my friend over there at CEO Grows. It looks like a gun clip. It's super cool. It holds like between 8 and 14 grams.
Wow.
Yeah, burns for a really long time. So there's
Sweet.
one of those in there. And then at Canna Fest, I bought some Mendo Dope swag from the badass band Mendo Dope. They're super awesome for raising awareness for our culture. So I got those. And then also I make like rolling trays and stuff like that. So there's rolling trays in there. There's wooden stash boxes. There's just really all kinds of really cool stuff. Every day is different. And every day is valued at over $150. So it's just really something to like bring everybody together. And also I'll be donating a pack of some 3D printed joint tips and some LST plant training 3D printed clips and a pack of my seeds to a veteran for every day. So I'll be sponsoring 12 veterans with a pack just for the participation of everybody buying tickets. So
Excellent. And how does someone go about buying tickets?
they can DM me or email me at cannamafia420@gmail.com. And the tickets are $5, and you purchase a ticket and then DM me what days you want them for. So days 1 through 12. And yeah, I had someone buy 10 tickets for one day yesterday. So
Awesome.
they're already cheating the system.
Hey, that's the game, right? Awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be worth it though. It's fun. It brings everybody together. So
Well, that's great. We appreciate everything you've got going on and doing for the community. Thank you for coming on the show, Canna Queen. Please let everybody know the best place they can follow you.
thanks for having me on, Joe. The best place to follow me is Canna_Queen_genetics_co_ at Instagram.com. And if you go to the link in my bio, that is a link to the Discord, and it's open to anyone. So
Awesome. And if you like content like this, make sure you go down there and smash the like button for Canna Queen. Leave a comment with your favorite strain, or maybe if you think you have a better strain name for Canna Queen, maybe, you can drop that in there. And if she takes it, you are willingly leaving that name for her. So understand.
if I take it, I will send a gift.
Excellent. There you go. And make sure you're also subscribed to Dro TV here on YouTube, because you don't want to miss more great guests like Canna Queen and interviews like this one. So thank you again for tuning in to another episode. Thank you, Canna Queen, for coming on Dro TV. And as always, smoke 'em if you got 'em. What's up, Dro TV family? You can now stream the audio version of all these episodes on your favorite podcast player. And if you like more episodes like this, check out this playlist we put together over here for you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. You don't want to miss more great content from Dro TV. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, smoke 'em if you got 'em.